Okay, this is DIY for a brake job, front brake job on my RL05. Starting off with jacking up the car. I'm just gonna do one side first. The other side is gonna be the same way. I wanna, if you have a jack, I'm gonna place it right there. Okay, once I have your car jacked, I put a jack stand there just as a safety precaution. You should always do that. Turn your steering wheel if you're working on your left. Turn it to the left. See what kind of tools we need here. Okay, looks like we're gonna need to take this bracket off there for the line. It's like a 10mm socket. You got your two big screws there. It takes a 19mm. So pretty much basic hand tools here. So you got your 10. I got my 10, 19. I use a braking bar because those are bigger bolts there. And you're gonna need to open in 8mm for your bleeder, which is right here. Just pull that off. Alright. Okay. I went ahead and loosened my 2mm bracket right here. Take off this bracket. I loosened the two main bolt on the caliper. Now, when you loosen it, make sure, because I don't know what the torque specs on that is. And remember, you're doing this on your own risk. I normally feel how tight the bolt is. So when I put it back, I kind of have that memory as far as how tight to tighten it back up. You don't want to over tighten anything. So I went ahead and loosened these two bolts. What you want to also do is crack this, loosen this, and close it back kind of snug. That way later on you can bleed the brake later, and I'll show you that a little bit later. Okay, another thing different about this setup, what I'm normally doing brakes, is this is a Brembo brake style. As you can see in the back here, I just kind of wiped it up here. You see there's a clip. See that clip? And it runs just a locking device for this pin that's coming across here. These two pins. So we have to take out this clip first, then punch out the pins. Okay, how I took out the pin was basically use my needle nose, pull it down, kind of like, and it just comes right off. And this one here, pull it up. You gotta pull it up like so. Comes right off. Now we can just punch out these two pins here. You can get this punch set anywhere, Harbor Freight or tool store. Not very expensive. Kind of match up the size. Okay, we are right there. See that pin right there? I'm gonna go just knock it out. Okay, so now you want to, as you can see, you have to punch it out from the back side here. And your pin comes out here. And make sure you remember how you put this, because as you can see, this part, pin, this plate goes underneath that. So when you put it back, make sure you press, and then this pin goes on top of that. Can you see that, guys? There we go. Okay, so once you remove those two pins, this plate pops right out, and you can see your two brakes there. Mine's very worn here. So basically you kind of pull the brake pad out like so. There you go. Check on the back side. Look at that. Just perfect timing here. Okay. You want to see if there's any warpage on your pad surface. See if it's nice and smooth, so you know your braking system brakes evenly, and with your rotor, nice and smooth. Same thing goes on the other side. You basically pull it out, but before we do that, I'm going to show you something, how to compress the piston, the caliper piston in, so that way we can put the new pads on. Okay, see, I got my pad out. You see the wearness of that pad and the new pad. And this is the OEM pad. I bought this on Del Rey dealership in Florida. You can order this online. I found they seem to have the best price, so I ordered it online. And look at the thickness of the brand new pad. Always make sure that it's the same match before you put anything in. Okay, prior to compressing the caliper, this is how I do it. I basically put a rag up there, loosen your bleeder. You can get a small screwdriver like this, so a flat, basic standard one. Kind of wiggle your way in between the rotor and the pad. Move it toward this way, pushing it this way. Sorry, it's got two hands here. So what I'm doing is pressing it like that. As you can see, the pad is moving in. Pad is moving in, compressing the piston, while the bleeder is leaking out fluid. Okay, you want to compress it as much as you can, all the way until it stops. Okay, you see that? Now I just use my bigger screwdriver and do a little more. Same thing, flat. What is that? Okay, like that. Stick it in here. Press it a little more. Just put it right in the middle there. Press it a little more. Okay. Now, take that off. Okay. I just took off my pad. As you can see, you see how that piston right there, those two pistons, is flush with the wall here. Okay, that's when you know you have a good press. Go ahead and tighten up, lock up your bleeder once after you press that. Let me show you on this side. See how the outer wall here, we didn't compress it yet, and see how the piston moves out. And this one, after we just pressed it, it's completely closed or pushed in. If you don't press it, you're not going to be able to put in your new pad because the thickness of it. So we can do the same thing on this side here. Basically put my old pad back in and press it the same way. But remember, you have to loosen the bleeder hole before you press. Okay, here's our second press. I'm going to loosen this, bleeder hole. Stick my flat screwdriver in here, kind of squeeze that out a little bit, and then stick it in a little bit more, then start slowly squeeze. You notice that it's still bleeding out, which is good. See how nice and smooth it's moving? You don't want to press too fast. You're gonna have a big gush of brake fluid squirting out. Okay, stick my bigger one in. Press. You want to do it in the middle because there's two pistons. Okay, make sure it's hot out. Okay. Now we pull this out. Pull that. Light in there. See how those pistons now are completely against the wall. And I'm gonna let my brake fluid bleed a little bit more just to get all the bubbles out here, because air rises and bubble just kind of comes out. But I'll just also at the end do a brake bleed just to be on the safe side, but usually you don't have to, but I just do it just as a precaution. So I see still fluid coming out, no more bubbles. Go ahead and snug that up. Okay, now basically what you want to do is, what I do is just kind of clean out all the dust in there, top around. I like to keep it clean. Now you notice there's two different sides of the pad that came out. One like this, and the other one has this little metal plate. This is where it starts to make that noise, squeaking. You can see the little metal plate. When it starts to squeaking, that's a warning sign you're gonna hit the metal and it's out of the pad. So that's a good indication there. So if you take this one out, make sure it goes back on which side. That's what I normally do. So this was on the back side. Basically, you just put your new pad back in, like so. See how it can go in? Oh, I gotta clean it first. Sorry guys.